So let's wait for some time. Everyone join. Okay, fine. So yesterday we have learned about this column layout and these things, right? So some of the things actually I have forgotten to explain you. Let's see those things also. So now let's somewhat recap those things what we have learned up to now. Let's try to share my screen. You people able to see my screen, right? Fine. Let's open this one. Okay. Let's try to open this one in the live server. In the previous session, what we have seen, let's try to see it. Okay, it will take some time to load it. 1 second. But hit load. Visual Studio. Yeah. These are all things we have seen. Now, for example, let's say that I am creating another file. Okay. Here I am having an HTML. Okay. And we know that container, we understood about the container. And we understood about the row. So each row should start with row. So don't directly try to use this call hyphen. So if you try to use this call hyphen md hyphen 3, so like this 4 times if you try to see call 1, if I try to use this same thing like this, so it will work, not a problem, it will work. Okay. If I try to open this one. Okay, so now if you try to see here, so call one, these all things we have introduced, right? So these all things without using the row, it's not working actually. So actually it will work, it is not working. So all the time whenever you are using, so you need to use this row. Okay, so inside this row only it should be there. Okay, why it's not working? Okay, Bootstrap is not there because of this one. So let us copy these all things directly. And if I try to use without a row, let's try to see. Okay, now if I try to use this one with row, it is working. So now, so all the people, what they will try to do is, so every time whenever you are starting a row, so you need to introduce a row and you need to start with the you need to use the columns. Don't try to use the columns individually without a row. Okay, so this is the one thing you need to understand. And another one what I want to tell you is, so for example, let's say that, so nested columns. So if you are having a row, okay, so I'm having a call hyphen md hyphen 6 into 2. Okay, so I'm having like this column 1 and column 2. So if you try to see here column 1 and column 2, we are able to see it. Otherwise, let's try to add a style class that starts with call. So it should have border solid black or something. If you try to see the output, yeah, every call has a black. So so exactly two columns are shifted into half thing. Now for example, let's say that inside this first column again I want two equal parts. Okay, so 2 equal parts. Normally what we can do is I can make it as 3 and I can make it as sorry, I can make it as 3 here. So now it will be divided into 2 equal parts, these things, but it should not be like that. What I want is in such a way that, so now it should be 2 equal parts, call 1 and call 2. And now what I want is inside this one, inside this 6, I want 2 equal parts again. Okay, again what you can do is, again you can create a row. Okay, so immediately when you create a row, now again it has a 12 columns. So its boundaries in between, in this call mod 6 only, in this 6 column layout only, it will again divide into 12 columns. Now it will try to say that, now you will try to say that call -md-6. Okay, and here if you try to see call -md-6, now if you try to see the output, exactly it will be happen here, call -md-6 and call -md-6 I have shifted, or otherwise you will try to say call. We try to see the output. We don't have the output, right? Sorry. So call 3 and call 3 we'll try to use it. Now if you try to see, exactly this 1 6 column layout has shifted into 2 things. Now if you want to use, you can also use call -md-6, anything you want, you can use it. Exactly, it has been shifted. Now if you try to see that, now inside this row, so you are having first row and you are having 2 equal 6 layout, and inside this 6 layout again you can divide it into 12 column layout, so that you can shift, you can use this 6 column layout. Again inside this one, again it will be divided into 6 column layout, and again if you want you can use it like this. So this is called as a nested columns. So like this also you can use it. For example, let's say that now you know that each column is divided into 12 grid layout. If I want to use something like 4, and if it is something like 8 means, so the same scenario it will work in this. The boundary is in this 6 column layout only. It will not take entire thing. So this is how we can use this nested column layout also. So this is also one of the important thing you need to understand. And what I can say is some of the concepts that you understood, right? This nested column layout. Nothing is there. So just how we have divided this one outside, how this 12 grid column layout is distributed. In the same scenario, in this nested also, in this call mod 6 also, you will be having the same situation. It will be working. Okay. Now before continuing deeper into this one, so just I want to give some overview how the Bootstrap actually works. Okay. So we'll try to see. We understood this column grid layout and all those things. How exactly this column grid layout is working, let's try to see it today. So before starting this some project and all those things, tomorrow we'll start it. I will try to explain you some of the Bootstrap thing. Now here, if you try to see, so this is the row. Okay, so you understood. So the outer row, this is the row. So what are the classes that it has applied? Let's try to see it. Okay, if you try to see, let's try to add cdn.js, then you will understand. cdn.js, right? Bootstrap. Bootstrap. Okay, take this 5.1.3. Anything. Okay, so link 5.2.1 beta, anything, we'll try to take it. Try to paste it here instead of node modules. I will try to paste it here. Try to see the output. Okay, so what is happening? Something I have thought of cdn.js, everything. It is not coming. There, let's see. Okay, I pasted in somewhere. Okay, I didn't save it. Bootstrap 5.2 is there. Oh, sorry, my mistake only. I took this JS file. I want to take this .css. Okay, so let's try to take this script file, and here I will paste this one. So I took the JS file instead of CSS. Okay, fine. Now the same output we are able to get it. Now let's try to see the output. Okay. Now if I try to see here the computed thing, the same thing we are getting. Okay. Now let's try to go here in the computed. So what are the classes that row is applying for this one? So display. Let's try to see about this display thing. So the display thing it is applying is new thing that is nothing but flex. So Bootstrap heavily uses this flex property. And if you try to see the styles for this one, okay. Now here if you try to see, it is applying something around width 50%, or otherwise flex 0 auto it is trying to apply. And in this, for this row, it has changed it to something around display block has been removed and it has applied display flex. So now let's try to see the concept of display flex. So what is this display flex? Let's try to see it. I will try to give a overview, just small brief overview of this one. So if you want a deep explanation means we will see some other time. So now let's try I will try to explain you this flex concept. What is this flex concept before understanding? So now let's say that flex.html. Okay. So this flex concept is an flex concept. It was introduced in CSS 3. So we are having two layout. So how you have seen about this display notepad. Let's go to this notepad++. Okay. Now here we understood about the display property, something like block we understood. Okay, inline we understood, and also inline block also has been understood. So these are the things there in CSS2 up to CSS2 and all the things. We also have something like table cell. These all things are also there. So those are different things. So which we are not using right now. So in CSS3, so another new properties has been introduced. Those are nothing but flex and grid. Okay. So you can also use the property something like display flex and also display grid. Okay, display flex and display grid. So these are the two properties which was introduced in the CSS3. So first flex was introduced, then afterwards the grid came in 2017 or 18, I don't know. So recently it was there. Display flex was there when CSS3 was introduced. So this one takes care of the horizontal positioning. Okay, horizontal position means x-axis position only it will take. But whereas this grid takes the multi position, so that means x and y axis. It will take it will construct the layout in multi position. That means x and y axis. So we will see about this grid layout and all those things afterwards. First we need to understand about this flex scenario. So what is this flex? So for example, let's say that I have an HTML. Okay, now I have a div. So this is the title. And here I am having another one, title 1 and title 2, let's assume. Okay. Now let's try to see the output for this one. Now if you try to see the output, so these two are coming one by one because we know that these two are what I can say block level elements. Div are block level elements. Fine. So we are able to understand it. Now what I want to do is, so these two things I need to get side by side. So now what I can do here, so immediately what I will try to do is, so I can convert this div into display inline. So this is one property which we can apply so that these two things will come side by side. Now the margin and padding, these all things, width, height, these all things will not work for the inline. So because of that reason, so we want to behave like inline, but it should accept the block level properties. So then also it is like this only. Fine. Now the concept I want to shift in such a way that I want to use this flex. Okay, so now I want to use this flex. So when I try to use this flex, immediately it shifted to the block level properties. Okay, when I try to use this flex for this div, okay, it immediately, so these two divs are in the flex, but these two divs are in the block level. They are behaving like block level only. So there is nothing difference is there mentioning as a block or mentioning as a flex. Okay, so now you need to understand that flex doesn't work on the individual elements. So flex, how it will try to work is, so now for example, let's say that we have a wrapper. We have a wrapper like this. Okay, now you need to give flex to the parent element. So the you are telling that how the child element should behave. So you are telling to the parent element that how your child elements should behave. So now your children elements, not the inner children or something like that. So direct children. Okay, So direct children elements, you are telling that how it should behave. For this parent, you are trying to say. Let's say that it is a class is equal to container. Okay. Now if you try to see dot container. Okay. Now for the parent element we are trying to see. If you try to see the output, the same output we are able to get. But these two elements are in a container. So it has a parent of div element which is of class container. So these both are in the container. Now I need to tell to these two things to come side by side like inline. Previously what we have did, we have applied to each element as inline. Now I don't want this one. So now I need to, so here instead of telling to the children, I am telling to the parent that tell to your children to become inline, something like that. Now what I can say, so now here you will be telling that display flex for the content for the parent. Okay. Now this is the concept I have read. But now if you try to see, immediately these two things has came side by side. What I did nothing to this children thing. What I told to the parent that tell to your children that to follow the inline, something like that. Okay. So we are telling that I'm telling to the parent it to be display flex. Okay. So when you tell to the parent container display flex means immediately this container what we'll try to do is it will try to make inline all these children elements. Okay. So but it follows the block level properties. So that means, for example, if I want to apply height, I can apply the height. Okay. So this height is there. So now if I try to see, if I try to apply border, see the height level properties and all those things it is applying, but still it is obeying as a inline level. Why? We have told to the parent container that it should be flex. So now what is the use of this flex and why we so why can't we mention as inline block for these two elements? Okay, so instead of mentioning it to the parent, we have mentioned flex, right? So we can use for these two things display inline block, the same situation it will happen, right? We can ask. So that is the thing. But here we have some, so we should know that exact how that what I can say this bootstrap is following. So now let's say that this is a row. Okay, so let's say that this is a row. Now here for this row it is a flex, so it has given as a flex. Okay, now this row has a flex. Okay, now let's say that it is a width of 100%. Okay, now this is taking the entire width or something like that. Now what I want to do is I will try to make it as flex 1. Okay, so now it took the entire width. Now I want to say that this one also has a flex 1. Okay, now it will take the exact thing. Okay, exact half of the thing it will try to take it. Okay, now if I try to say it's the flex 2 means flex 2, if I try to take is total, let's say that 100% is there means, so it should take the 2 parts and it should take the 1th part. So like this we can assume it. So for example, let's say that it is having 3. Okay, let's say that we are having 3. Now what we are trying to say is out of the 4 parts, so total parts are 4 and 3 parts should be taken by the first one and only 1 part should be taken by the first one out of these 4 parts. So like this the combination will be there. So for example, let's say that I have made it as 3, this one also. Now what is happening, out of total 6 parts are there. Okay, 3 plus 3, 6 are there. So first is sharing 3 parts and second is sharing 3 parts. That is nothing but flex 1 1 only. So if you mention is 3 3, so that is nothing but exactly half of the things it is sharing out of the 6 parts. And for example, let's say that we are having another one, something like this. Okay, now here we are having, so flex 1 flex 3 3 3, if you try to mention out of the 9 parts it will take the same equal thing. But if you are trying that for the first one you are saying that flex 3. Okay, and the second one you are saying flex 2, and this one I am saying that flex 5, let's assume. So now out of total it is there 5 plus 5 10, and this one will take the exactly half, remaining 2 things will be shared by these guys. Okay, so this is how it will work. So using this concept only, so the bootstrap column architecture has been designed. Now you need to understand other thing is that, so what is the use of this one? So I can use this, what I can say, with 100% and all those things also we can use it, right? We can use it, but flex has some advantages. What is that? I will try to explain you. Now this is the row we are having, right? Now let's say that these are by default they are in horizontal. right? They are by default, they are in horizontal, but I don't want this to be horizontal. I want it as a vertical. So what I can do here, flex direction. So you will be having option that flex direction. Now you can say that column. So immediately the default architecture will come. So now if you try to observe, title 1, title 2 and title 3 are there. So just I am giving you over recap on this one. Now if you try to see, let's say that the body or HTML, let's say that we are having only one div. Okay, so we are having only one div. Now what I want to do is, so HTML and body, so it should take the height of 100 VH. Okay, viewport height it should take. Now if I try to show you the output, let's try to show you the output. So now the total body is 100 VH. Okay, so let's assume the total body is 100 VH. Now this is the row. Okay, now this is the row. Now I want this row, so I want this flex box. So this title should come to the center of the screen, irrespective of the devices and all those things. It should come to the center of the screen, both vertically and horizontally. Now what I can do for this one, so for this div, okay, class is equal to, let's say that column I have applied. Now for this column, or otherwise, okay, leave this column. So I can apply in a such a way that, now first what I want to do, I want to make this text to the center. So what I can do here, the first one what I can do is text align center. Okay, so if I try to do this text align center, nothing is happening here. So now if I try to make it as flex one or something like this, so somewhat it will try to, okay, it will not come. So we are trying to apply it for the row, we need to apply it for the column flex one. So let's try to leave it. So now in order to use this one, so we have a separate property, so horizontally making it center, flex properties. So now for this row, I want this element, so this one call is there, I want to make this horizontally center, that part. So this box I want to make it horizontally center. So we can use the property that justify content center. Okay, so you need to understand this one. So justify content center will make the children elements, whatever the children elements you are having, so it will make you horizontally center. Now I want this one to be vertically center. So let's try to see it. So now I want to make this one vertically center. So for this one you can have another property, align items center. Okay, so align items center. Now this one is not happening center. Why? Because for this row the total height of this one is this much only. So let's make it as height inherit or something like this. Okay, now a height inherit, what I am telling, that to inherit the height of this one from the parent is having 100 VS, that means total it is having, and now this row is taking the total height of that one. And now for this row I am telling that to follow the display flex, and also it should be horizontally center, and align items means it should be vertically center. Okay, so these are the three properties you need to understand that. So I will not tell you more than this, you will get confused. So in display flex you will have a concept in a such a way that regarding everywhere, so regarding any device, so if you want to make it horizontally center and also the vertically center also. So if I try to minimize it, so it is trying to maintain vertically center. See, so whatever the mobile device, and whatever may be the thing and all those things, so it will maintain it as vertically center and horizontally center. So this is how, so you need to understand that. So whichever element, children element, you want to make it center, for that parent element you will tell that to make it as flex, so that the children elements will follow the flex properties. And in this, for this row element only, you are saying that justify content center. So you are trying to tell that justify content center, and justify content center means it will try to maintain horizontally center. And you have some other properties also. For example, let's say that default one is left side only, so I want to make it right side. So you have another properties like end. Okay. So end means, okay, for this align items I am trying to change. So justify content, and you will have center, you will have the end. Flex end is also same thing, flex start is also same thing. So inherit means it will inherit, so revert means it will revert. Oh wait, what is happening here? Okay, so justify content, it is like this. And let's try to see what is happening to my system. Okay. So now justify content center we have seen. Now center, end, and all those things it will be. So many options is there. It's nothing but most probably center, end, and start. So horizontal it is there, right? So whichever you want it horizontally, center, end, flexend is also same thing. So inherit, initial, revert, these all things we have learned about these all things. So space evenly, space around, I will try to tell you again. So this is another concept. Now we have another thing is vertically making center. So we have this one, align items. Now we have the center. Center means vertically center. End means it will go to the end of the screen. Flexend is also same thing. And default one is self start. Start is nothing but if you don't mention it will be start only. But if you want to mention it means it will be in the start. So vertically means center, end, start. In the same scenario for this horizontally means center, end, start. Now where this actually will be useful. So fine it is. So now making the text centrally, making the text horizontally center and vertically center in a particular container. Don't think only it will be in the window. So it in the container it will be. For example, let's say that I will try to show you the real-time scenario. So we are having a class of row, okay, and here I am having a box. Let's assume box. Let's assume, and here I am having one call. Div class is equal to call. Okay, so for this box, let's say that I can remove this HTML height and width. So this box is having a height of something around 300 pixel and width of around 300 pixel, let's say, and I will try to do border 1 pixel solid black. So now let's try to see the output, how it will come. Now if you try to see the output, so this is a box. Let's try to make it a little bit smaller. So 200 pixel. So now here you are having a box. Okay, think this one as a box. Inside this box we are having this row call. So I want to make it as column 1. Okay. Now what I can do here, so we are having this column 1. Now I want to make this one center inside this box. So now what I can do, let's go to this one. Let's try to say that, so this is the box and this is the row, and you can say that height should be inherited. Okay, so now this row will take the entire thing. Now what I want to do, so this one should be for this row, the child elements which are present in this child elements. So it should have justify content center. Now it will be center inside this box only. If you try to understand, inside this box only it is trying to make it center. Now I want to make it vertically also center. I will try to make it align center. Now inside this box, this column 1 is vertically and horizontally center. So how many boxes you want? So if you want to make any content vertically and horizontally center means, so you can use this scenario. So it's not applicable only for whole window or something like that. So you will be having like this. I will try to show you in the real-time project scenarios how you will try to make use of this one. So you need to understand that justify content center will make horizontally and align item center will make it vertically. So there are other scenarios which justify content center will make vertically and all those things. So those are beyond the scope. So let's try to understand these basic scenarios. The another thing what I want to explain you is, so these are pretty much fine. Let's try to see this Bootstrap thing. Let's go to the docs and I will try to explain grid columns. Okay, if you try to see now here, if you try to see here, there is a vertical alignment. So now, yeah, this is the one scenario. Now where I can use it is, for example, let's say that I am having a links. Okay, so home, about us. Okay, normally we have used something like ULLI like this, we have used it, right? So now let's say that contact. Okay, contact. Normally we have used call, fine. So but now we are not using the Bootstrap, right? So let's try to define it as call. So it should be something like flex1. So each one should take the equal part. So now if you try to see the output, let's try to remove this box. Okay, now the thing is home, about, contact us are equally distributed. If you try to see the output, so these are one part, so equally these are distributed. Okay, now what I want is, for example, let's say that I don't want to use this call. Okay, I don't want to use this flex one. Now if you try to see here, so these three are like this distributed. Now I want to have in a such a way that so home should be this side and contact should be on the right side and about us should be in the middle. So now what I can do is for this row, so we know that justify content center. Let's try to apply justify content center. So all the three columns is trying to apply in the center. So we have seen, right? So we have some other options. Let's try to see some other options available. So we have space between. Okay. So let's try to use this space between. So space between, if you try to use it, now between the three columns, okay, between the three columns, so between these three columns, it will try to apply the equal space. Okay. So here it has applied. So for this column left side and between these all the things, it has applied the what I can say spaces. Now what I want is evenly it should apply. Okay, I can use evenly. Now it has applied evenly between all the columns. So left side, right side, and here. So evenly it has applied the space. Now I don't want like this space around. So it should be around space around. Now if you try to see around equally, it will be applied. So here equal, left and right equal, and for this left and right equal, and this for this left and right also equal. So like this we can use the we can design the navigation using this justify content center. And now for example, let's say that I will try to show you here. Now here we are having same box is having the orange color box is, this is like a container, let's assume. Okay, how we have mentioned this one. Now in the Bootstrap, how you can do is, so let's try to go this to this Bootstrap, and here we have introduced this Bootstrap, right? Now let's try to have a container. Okay, now I am having a container. So here I am having a row. So here I am having a three columns. So I am having three columns. Now let's try to see the output for these columns. Now if I try to see column, each three things has been equally distributed, just how we have distributed that one. Now what I want to do is, let's say that container, for this container I will try to add in a such a way that I will try to give some fixed height. So just like the box only. So 200 pixel and the border 1 pixel solid black. Okay, so this is the thing I want to apply it. Now if you try to see the output, so now in this box, so previous box only I have shown you, but using this, what I can say, Bootstrap classes, how we can do those scenarios. Now in this box, what I have did is, so we are having three columns and this is the container box, and for this one parent is the row. Okay, parent is the row. So this one is the guy who is applying this one. Now if I want to do it vertically center, so these two things inside this box, I want these three columns to be vertically center. So what I can do for this row, so we already know about this align item center, right? So I can use this align items center directly. Okay, so now let's try to what happened to this one? So height and this one is there. Okay, let's try to take it is height inherit. Okay, so it should, this one also should have the equal height. So now inside this box, okay, inside this box, what has happened? Align item center, it has equally distributed this one. Now for using this CSS, so we have a class in the we have class in the Bootstrap, something like align item start is the default one. Align hyphen items hyphen center, he's trying to tell that. Align hyphen items hyphen center, he is applying to the row. The same CSS what I am trying to do, I am applying it to the row only. So where is this one went? Yeah, so for the same thing I am trying to apply for this row only. So now what I can do, for this row I am trying to use a class of CSS of align item center. So instead of using this one, I can use the Bootstrap provided thing align item center. And in the same scenario, you can have align items end also. So this is the thing what I want to explain you. So these are also CSS, it is there. So whenever you try to see, so many people will be using these things. So now, so these are, so if you want to make these all align hyphen self hyphen center also, you can make it. And another one is horizontal. Horizontal alignment means justify content. So horizontal if you want to. So we have seen the space around, space evenly, space between. So these are all the things we have seen it, right? So justify content start is default one. Justify content center, end, justify content. If you try to see, justify content around means space around. Justify content between means space between. Justify content evenly means space evenly. So like this, we can also make use of these CSS classes. So now this is about the flex thing. So basic thing, I don't want to go into the deep so that you'll be getting confused. So you need to understand the basic concept that in order to make any text, so display block will follow for the particular element. Display flex need to be applied to the parent element. This is the thing, first thing you need to understand. So whenever you want the child elements to behave in a different way means, so you need to apply flex to the parent element. That is the one thing you need to understand. If you apply to the parent element, then the children elements will become flex and it will use the flex alignment properties. And the flex properties are, if you want to make it horizontally center, you need to use the justify content. And if you want to make it vertically center, you need to use the align item center. So up to here you use it. So more than that means, so many concepts are there, flex grow, flex shrink, so many things are there. We will see it afterwards, those all things. So these are the two things you need to understand. So for making horizontally center, so you need to use justify content. For make it vertically center, you need to use it what I can say, align item center. If you are somewhat means, I will try to explain another concept also, that not that much of confusing. So for example, let's say that we understood that align item center will work only for the, for example, let's say that align item center. Okay, now this one has a height, it should have a height, right? So I didn't inherit. So now align item center, this one is making vertically center. We know about this concept. Fine, let's try to remove this one. So here see, the Bootstrap has applied this align item centers and also is using important. Why? Because so none of the things he is trying is not allowing us to edit it. So let's say I am removing this class, I am trying to apply it outbound. Okay, now what I want is this column, two column should be something like, I don't want horizontally, I want vertically. So we know that for this row, this is the display flex, right? We have learned about the flex direction. So I don't want it horizontal, that means row wise. So this is the row is the default one. So I want it column wise. So I changed it to column. Okay, now these three are taking the same column. Okay, now let's try to remove the height for this one. So these three are taking the same column. Now what I want is, now if I try to apply align item center, okay, if I try to apply align item center for this one, so now if it is trying to apply, for example, let's say that justify content center, let's try to make it as what I can say, height of row container. They are having some Bootstrap classes, that's the reason it is going away. Let's say that we are having something around flex.html, it is there, right? Open with lev. So here let's say that I want this one, display flex, text align center, these things are there, right? So for this one I made it as align item center, justify content center, justify content center. So now if I try to make it center, so it is aligning it horizontally. We know that this is as a flex property. Now what I want to do is, so I shifted it to flex direction column. Okay, so now immediately when I try to make it as flex direction column, so I made it as flex direction column. Now what it is having, so it is not in the center. So but what we have did, so we have made justify content center to make these all things horizontally center, but these three things are not coming horizontally center. Now you need to understand another thing, that whenever you justify content center, so we'll apply only for the row level elements only. Now for the column, so now you changed the direction of this flex thing, column layout. Now what it will try to do is, so now here when you try to change this to column, so now vertically align items will try to behave it is horizontally, and justify content will try to become vertically. Now if you try to use align item center, now this becomes center line. So this one will work horizontally and this one will work vertically. Okay, so why? Because you changed the direction of the flex in a such way that reverse you have changed it. In the same scenario, align items and justify content center also will work in the same scenario. Now justify content center will work vertically for the column layout, and align item center will work horizontally for the column layout. Whereas the default property for this one is row. Okay, so this row, right? So row means, so now justify content center will become horizontal. So this is one concept you need to understand it. So this is the things. Justify content will work only for the row level elements horizontally. Whereas if you change it to column level means, so justify content will work in the height level. So in the vertical level it will work, try to work. Instead of horizontally, in vertical level it will try to work it. So this is the scenario. Why? So if you change the direction means these properties also, the direction also it will be changed. So this is about the flex concept. So did you understand this flex thing? So these are the things what I want to explain you. Now you will understand about these all the concepts very easily. Now let's try to see today forms thing. Okay. So after seeing these forms things, and we will do the live project using the Bootstrap. So we'll try to develop, what we'll try to do is we'll try to use this Twitter website only. So we'll try to use this twitter.com website only, and we'll try to develop this one. So we'll try to develop this whole layout. So we can develop, let's try to see using the Bootstrap. First you try to understand, let's complete it today. So instead of starting this one, let's complete today forms also, so that you will try to understand. Now here the forms thing. So not only now you understood about the layout architecture, these are all the common classes, these all things we have learned it. So now Bootstrap also has some special classes and all those things for designing forms also. Now let's say that we are having HTML5, we are having a form. I will be having a label. Okay, so name, and normally what we'll try to use it, input type is equal to text. So this is the form thing. If you want, you can use it in the paragraph, something like this, so that it will be block level element, and you can use it something like email. So let's say that we are having this one. Okay, I can use the button. So this is the normal basic thing which we develop. Button, submit. So this is the button. This is the form and the button. Where is this one? Yeah. Now here we are having the basic thing which HTML gives you on by the fly. Now I want to change the design. So how the Bootstrap one so applies for these forms? Let's try to see. Now let's try to see the things what they have given. So here we are having the forms, right? So form thing overview. Now if you try to see here, the simple form they have designed it. Now in the Bootstrap, if you try to see, let's try to implement this one. Okay, now in the Bootstrap, this one, everything in the form, this is a form. Okay, and this is called as a form control. Normally in HTML terminology, we'll call it as a form control. Now for applying this form control, you can apply a class is equal to form control. Okay, so there is a class available in the Bootstrap. If you apply form control for this one, let's see how the design for this one has been changed. Now if you try to see the document of this one, all things. Now if you try to see here, the name and the text box has been automatically changed. Actually I was in the Zoom. So now if you try to see, the text box has it is in the light grayish color, the border has changed, and also the width has changed, and also when you are trying to focus on this one, a focus layer is also coming, and it is taking the whole width of this box. Okay, now what I can do, the concepts what we have learned, we'll try to implement it. So div class is equal to call -md -6. I will try to implement it in this form. I will try to enclose this in this form. Now if you try to see, this will be in the 6 column layout, right? So another 6 column layout, it is left alone. I want this form to be center. So now what I can do here, I can write something like offset -md-3. Okay, now if you try to see the output, it is correctly on the perfectly on the center. Okay, now if I try to add some heading or anything, means we have already learned h2. Okay, So if you want, you can use class is equal to h1 or anything. This is something like sign in form. Let's try to implement sign in form. Okay, sign in form. Let's try to see the output. If we try to see the output, so exactly we are able to see the sign in form. Now we have got the name and this one. Let's try to convert this one also email. So here if you try to convert it to email, so we have a class for this one. So form control, you can implement it as a form control. So now if you try to see, so email and this one, so exactly without writing any CSS, we have changed the structure of this one. Now if you try to have a button, so there is a separate classes for this Bootstrap, that is nothing but btn. Okay, so when you try to use this btn class, automatically this button will be converted. Okay, now I want some color. I want to apply some color for this one. We know some colors like success, warning, danger, light, dark, info. These are all colors we have seen previously. So I want to apply something like button hyphen primary. Okay, now if you try to see the button also has been changed. So this is how we can do the simple form. So without writing single CSS, so we have designed a single form. What we have used here, form control. So for form controls thing, okay. And let's try to use another thing, something like label and select box. Let's try to use the select box, and I will be having option select data or something like this. I will try to use it. Let's try to see the output. Now here you are having the default HTML down. Now let's try to use the form control. So whether this form control works or not. So now if I try to use the form control for this one, let's try to see how could be the output. So now if you try to see the output, so the design has been changed for this one. Okay, so now if you try to see it, the CSS will be applied in such a way that it is thinking that this is an input element, but here this is not an input element. For input element form control, it is working. For these types of drop downs, so you have another CSS, another class, that is nothing but form hyphen select. Okay, if you try to use this form hyphen select, now arrow mark has been came. See here, arrow mark has been came, and you can able to see it. Okay, so this is how you can use this one. So now if you want, for example, let's say that I have used like this in the label, right? So now if I try to use it, select date, and if I try to use it down, now you will get it as a full width. Okay, full width. Now you will get it as a full width. This is how we will be designing the form. This is the basic form. Let's try to see what are else what I can say Bootstrap is providing us for us. Now we have seen about this one. If you want to use the paragraph, you can use the paragraph, or otherwise you can use this div also. I will try to tell about this MB and all those things. And here he has used this form control, and he has used this ID. Why? Because by using this for label for to focus, when we click on this password, it should be automatically focused, right? We have discussed about this in HTML, the forms concept. So ID has introduced, and here he is using help thing. Okay, form hyphen text. So when you use this form hyphen text, when you want to mention anything, means you can mention it. So for example, let's say that we have learned another new thing, that is nothing but div. I want to name should be 60 characters, something information I want to provide it for the guy. Okay, normally we will provide it like this, and if you try to see the output, so now here they are telling that if you want to provide this one, so they will be having a separate class for this one, that is nothing but form text. So if you apply this class is equal to form text for this one, now it is converted into somewhat grayish color. Okay, they are giving somewhat grayish color, that's it. Font size and color they are giving it, and font size they have decreased it. So now if you want to have any information you want to mention, it means you can have a class nothing but form text. So there is no need to remember these all the things. So when you are trying to design the form, you will go to these all forms thing, and you can see the thing, you can see these all things, and you can copy it. So V2 also in the real time also will do the same thing only. You will not remember these all the classes. Don't think that we need to remember these all the classes. Just I am showing you these are all the options that are available. So like this, if they want to add a text, means we can use this form text. And now here they are giving you some other concept, something like up to now the forms we have label is displayed at the top, and email text box is coming at the bottom. So that means each one is a block level element, like that it is taking. But if you want that email text box also to be coming horizontally, means we can use this row concept. Okay, call mod 3, call mod 3, like this. You can use call hyphen auto, you can use it, and we can use the same scenario. So now he has divided equally so that we can use these all things. So this is the concept he has used. In this row, he has used this all call auto, and this call auto. Automatically, these all things will be shifted. Or otherwise, you can share it as call 3, call 6, and call 6, so that in this equal 6 parts, it will be divided. So like this, he has used. Disable forms is disabled. Disable means it will be disabled. The how the design will be, there he is trying to show it. Accessibility, these all things are leaving. Now you understood about this form control also. Now this form, he is trying to explain you about the form controls. What are the different types of form controls available, and what are the CSS classes we can apply for the form controls he is trying to do. So input and text area, checkbox, radio button, drop downs, these are all called as form controls. Now this is the form control for any input box he is trying to tell. So text area also you can apply the form control. So this is how the output will come. And if you want to increase the size of this form controls, you can use this -lg at the end of this one. So we know that prefix thing, lg, sm, these all things you can use it for the form control also. Is trying to explain form control -sm, this one. If you want to decrease this size also for this one, you can use it. And read only, these all things are different. Yeah, this one you know about these all things. Call -smc, like this also you can divide it. Row call -sm-10. So like this also you can use it, not a problem. And yeah, these are the things which you need to understand. These are, so if you want to use these all things, so label class is equal to form label. So if you want label to be designed in a such a way that you can use this form label. Okay, default input file example, and here you can use this input classical form control. For the file you will be getting like this, it seems. So for the file, so when you are writing input type is equal to file, the design will be changed to like this. And another concept, color picker, you know this color picker, and data list, these all things he has given. Select box, drop down, we have seen, right? Form -select is the class we need to use it. Same scenario, we will be having lg, these all things we will be having. That's it about the form select, nothing is there. Checkbox and radius, how the checkbox and radius will look is, so the same thing. So we will not use this, what I can say, form -check-input. So we'll use this class so that it will be, no, what I can say, it will be designed like this, form -check-input. Now if you try to see radius also, you'll be having form -check-input. That's it. And these all things are different, nothing is there in this one. And range, input group, yeah, input group is one of the thing you need to understand. Input group is nothing but, so now you are having here @ and here you are having an input box. Okay, and here you are having recipient username, and this one is the label you are having. So these two are called as an input group. So these two things you can call a class input group, and you can use this input group text and something like this. For example, let's say that same thing. So now we are having a name, right? The same thing I can convert into some other type, something like, so class is equal to, we need to use the input group. Okay, and here you will be having, sorry, there is this moment, and here he is trying to use this input group text, right? So he is trying to tell that use this input group text. Let's try to see. So I can use this input group text. Now the output, let's try to see how it will come. So now this name, the whatever the label is there, so it has been came as a like this. So now this one, how we have get, so just we have added it as an input group for this one, and for the label we have added input group text. That's it. So like this, if you want these all the things, means now you can write @ whatever the name you want, you can write it here. Now this is also one of the design, so you will be able to see it. So that is the thing he's trying to explain us. That's it. So if you want small size and all those things, you can use input group -sm, md, these all things also you can use. Checkbox and checkbox, you can also use this checkbox also. So nothing is there. So in this input group text only, you will add this checkbox. Input group and input group text. That's it. These all are different things. You can check these all things by seeing these all floating labels. Yeah. So floating labels means nothing but, so here the email address and all those things also it will be floated. So these are nothing but, so here you can use this what I can say, form floating. If you use this class form floating, automatically that input, this label and all those things will be floated. Form floating. You need to use this class form floating. And the layout we have already seen how to design this layout. Validations we can check it. So these are normally the form controls, how it will be. So normally we will be using the form control. Okay. Input group means we can use this input group. Form select for this one. Form check-input for the checkboxes and radio buttons. That's it. Most probably these are the things only we will be using. Other than this, we will not use anything. And these things only it is mentioned in the Bootstrap also. And the another thing what I want to explain you is, before closing this all theory session, before starting this real time, let's try to change it to div. Okay. Now let's try to say that I have converted to div. So if you want to paragraph also, you can use it, not a problem. Now, if you try to see here, all the forms, these are congested actually. I want to have some gap between these all the forms thing. One thing what I can do is, so now what I will try to do, so here normally we will try to apply style is equal to margin top 10 pixel, so right side 10 pixel, the bottom 10 pixel. So this is a clockwise direction, you need to understand that. So clockwise direction, first one will be top, second one will be right, bottom and left it will be, so 10 pixel. Okay, so now I am applying margin 10 pixel 10 pixel 10 pixel. Let's try to observe. So here we got it 10 pixel like this. So now instead of applying this one, so CSS provides us some pretty CS handful classes for the margin. Something like if you want all the sides 10 pixel means you can apply something like m-1. So it will take account not 10 pixel, it will take according to that font size 1 em. So m-1 means, so it is nothing but something like 1 em 1 em 1 em like this. Okay, equally it will be divided. So you will be having 1 to 6 up to 5 you will be having. Okay, so 1 to 5 you will be having. Now if you try to see 1 means, now if you try to see the output, okay, so little bit tough is there. So if I try to use this 5, let's say that how much gap it will be there. See, equally it is divided into, equally it is divided, so equally. Now for example, let's say that I want only horizontal, I don't want top and bottom, so you can use x-axis only, it should be 5. Now if you try to see the output, see, x-axis only we got it, not in the y-axis. Top and bottom we didn't get it. So x-axis only we got it. Now if you want only top and bottom means you can use this my. Okay, so my means top and bottom only you are getting. Now you can ask me that I want only left side means you can use ms. Ms means start, so margin at the starting side. So if you try to see, only at the left side only you got it. So right side I want means you can use me. Okay, so me means you will get it end, so end side. But now I want only on the top side. Okay, I want only on the top side, so remaining all I don't want is, you can use empty. So now you will get only on the top side. Okay, now I want only on the bottom side, so that means mb. I can use this mb. Now I will get only on the bottom side. So now what you have learned, so just for the memorization thing. Okay, so mx means, so this one is horizontal. Okay, all the scenarios we have learned it. My means vertical, and ms and me means, so left and right. Mt and mb means top and bottom, and only m means it will apply all the sides. In the same scenario, padding also works in the same way. Px padding, it will apply x-axis. Py padding will apply on the y-axis. Ps and the pe, it will apply start and end, and pt and pb, it will apply like this, top and bottom, and p hyphen, it will apply all the sides. So this is the padding. If you try to see in the Bootstrap, here so all the time they will be using mb-3. So that means they are trying to give bottom 3 things, 3 em gap, and here you will try to see all the places you will try to see it. They will use mb-3. So it's a better good habit to maintain this one, so that all the margins and paddings will be consistent. Okay, so this is the use of this margin and padding. Other than this, nothing is left in this one. So float thing we have discussed, flex thing also I have told you. Display means, so if you want to use the display block, display and all those things, you have a pretty classes, that is d-block, d-inline, you can use those all things. If you go over through this, you will try to understand it. Positioning means we have learned about this absolute and all those things, right? So you have the classes for these things also, you can use of these classes. Sizing thing we have seen. So these are different types of sizings are there. And font sizes, if you want, you can take a look of these all font sizes and all those things. Word break, text transform, these are all pretty. So font sizes also, if you want to use, you can use this fs-1. Let's try to see the spacing. If it is there for 5 up to, I don't know, I didn't remember. Let's try to see. Up to 5 only it is there. So, okay, 0, 1, 2, 3. 0 means it will remove all the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So T, B, S, E, X, Y. So these are the things they are trying today. So now, that's it. These are the only things. So sizing also we have seen. The font size, how we need to apply. And article align visibility, text thing we have seen. Positioning we have seen. That's it. Most colors also you have seen the different types of colors. Primary, secondary, these all things we have seen. Going a border also, if you want to add the border hyphen top, border hyphen end. So only to apply the border bottom, you can use this all things. Okay. So if you want to change the color of this one is border hyphen primary, you can use it. So you'll try to see in the real-time scenarios, you'll try to understand it. That's it. Most probably these are the Bootstrap classes. Most of the things I have covered. So these are the things available. Tomorrow we'll try to design these all Twitter. So we'll try to design this Twitter thing using the Bootstrap. So we have the Bootstrap now available, right? You'll be able to understand it very easily. So did you people able to understand these all things? Fine, right? Why this twitter.com is not opening for me? I thought that internet has gone for me. I don't know. Is this one opening? Okay. So is there any doubts?